Well, hello there, and a very happy Friday to you. Steve Hook with you. Welcome to the Right Hook. Good to have you. We've got a lot to talk about today. Thankfully, the weekend is on us, so we won't have to. We get through the day, and then we can just take a few days off, or at least a couple. These days, it seems to be better for your mental health not to pay attention to what's going on, especially these last 48 hours or so. We'll dive into that, and we're going to do that with our good buddy Michael Lauber, who, of course, is co-host of The Insurrection on X American News. And Michael joins me now. Hello, Michael. How are you, brother?
I'm glad it's Friday. It's almost the weekend.
You're not kidding. Me too. Um, I titled the program "A Republican Party If You Can Keep It." That, of course, is a kind of a play on Franklin's line when he was asked by a lady after the drafting of the Constitution, what have you created for us? He says, "A republic if you can keep it." It seems to me, Michael, and you tell me, it seems to me like there's several Republicans inside the Republican Party that would just as soon kill the conservative wing, which is the MAGA wing, and not even the MAGA wing. I know conservatives that are not really that MAGA, but the conservative wing at large, and certainly the MAGA wing inside of it, they're ready to kill that. They don't want any part of this stuff, whether it's the Save Act, voter integrity, obviously, whether it's the weaponization fund to pay people back that were absolutely destroyed by rogue prosecutors after January 6th. Nobody's saying that some people at January 6th don't deserve to be locked up. I think we could all agree to that. But this was a wide net that was used to destroy a bucket load of people, including our very own Derek Evans, it should be noted.
Yeah.
Um, and so they're like, nope, I don't want any part of that. And they also don't want the Save Act, and they don't really go along with Trump that much, it seems like. So this is a
Yeah.
Republican Party if we can save it. The question is it salvageable? What do you think, Michael?
I don't know. I mean, this is the main problem. Is the power and the money within the modern party is fighting for the uniparty. So that's the Senate campaign fund, the House Congressional Campaign Fund. They're putting their money behind rhinos. As we've talked about before, they spent $60 million, $60 million for John Cornyn to try to keep his seat against Paxton. And they've done the same in the last few
Yeah, that
elections.
didn't work
Support.
out too well.
Well, exactly. We talked about in the last, the one I love to beat to death is Lisa Murkowski, $9 million in her race in Alaska, which was against another Republican who was far more conservative than she was. Kelly, I always forget her last name. Um, but they're the ones taking us in the wrong direction, and we're seeing the knives come out now, especially since Trump endorsed Paxton. I mean, you literally had Tillis and others say, "Well, we're going to stop Trump's agenda for the rest of the year," and that's what we're already seeing. And I don't expect it to ease up. Um, We've got some additional rhinos enter the fray now. We've got about 10 now in the Senate that consistently side against our agenda. I know some people are also trying to lump Rand Paul in that for his vote against FISA, but again, I think he's at least taking a principled stand. And let's not forget, Trump ran his platform was on his platform to end FISA and foreign surveillance courts because they were weaponized against him and many other conservatives. And then all of a sudden, he reversed himself and wanted that kept. But no, it needs to go. There is nothing else has changed about it. They're not reforming it, restructuring it. There's not been guardrails put in or anything else. That's got to
Right.
go. But no, I mean, it's just so disappointing to see these same rhino losers come out and stop the will of the people. I mean, support for the Save Act is at an all-time high. We covered a story
Both
about a week
parties,
or
by
so,
the way, across the aisle too. 85
82%.
to 86% of Americans believe that you should show ID to vote. And why not, given the fact that
Yeah,
every country in Europe demands it, most countries in Asia demand it, most countries in Latin America demand it, most countries in Africa demand it.
yeah,
Uh, and yet, for some reason, we don't demand it. And we all know the reason why. And you kind of touched on it. Filthy lucre, a lot of money,
yeah.
a lot of power exchanging hands here inside the Beltway. They don't call it the swamp for nothing. And I tell you, Mike Lee. Well, you know what? We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Let's kind of backtrack a little bit because this is why this party needs to be saved, and it needs to be saved by real conservatives and real people that actually hold fealty to the Constitution, which is a document that we're about to celebrate the 250th birthday of, and
Yeah.
also, by the way, a document which every politician, regardless of party, takes an oath to uphold. And it seems that there's a lot of people that want no part of upholding it if it means getting in the way of their power.
Yeah.
And they're clinging, I mean, like death grip on this, on the power. It didn't do John Cornyn any damn good. Um, and you're right, they hate the fact that Trump endorsed Paxson, even if it was late in the game, and even if it was pretty much a fait accompli. I mean, he was gonna win that race.
Oh
I'd say
yeah.
with or without Trump, but Trump's endorsement was the final nail in the coffin. And boy, now the rhinos are pissed and they're
Yeah.
showing it. So late last night, Mike Lee decides to add. We're going to go out of order with these clips because I just think it's going to be better for the flow of the program. Michael, just a
Sure.
little inside baseball heads up to everybody. So Mike Lee attaches a up or down vote on the SAVE Act as an addendum, as an add-on to the bill that they were fighting for last night, which was Reconciliation Act. And he said, okay, well, I want a yes or no vote on this. So he forces that. And when he does force that, you'd say, well, that's a good thing. He's showing his balls here. And he was. But what he was really doing was laying a marker. Let's go to cut 3, if we could, Michael, and have a look at how Mike Lee did this.
President, first of all,
I recognize the senator from Utah.
the Department of Homeland Security has found tens of thousands of registered non-citizens in the United States. Pursuant to Section 904 of the Congressional Budget Act of 1974, I move to waive all provisions of the applicable budget resolutions. I move to waive all applicable sections of the Act and all applicable budget resolutions for purposes of the pending amendment, and I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there sufficient?
Okay, so that's how he came up. He basically said, "I'm going to stand up to this. I'm going to stop this in its tracks unless we put a yay or nay vote on the floor for the SAVE Act." Now, how do you think that ended, Michael? Well, we all know how it ended. Let's go to cut 4.
The yeas are 48, the nays are 50, 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to. The point of order is sustained and the amendment fails.
Mr. President.
To recognize the majority leader.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the following amendments or motions be the next in order: Hickenlooper 5501 and Kim 5545.
You see how much of a fight? You see how much of a fight John Thune put up there? Not at all. He said, let's move on to the Hickenlooper bill. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted no part of it. Now, mind you, he was not one of the 4 that voted against Mike Lee's proposal. He voted for it. But I would wager, Michael, and I would be willing to put money on it. The only reason he voted for it was because he knew he had cover from the usual suspects. Tom Tillis, Mitch McConnell, the turtle raised it comes out of his shell for this vote. Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins. And Susan Collins has got her own form of cover because she's running against a Nazi in Maine. So she can vote however the hell she wants. Won't affect her unless the people of Maine completely lose their minds and vote for this Plattner character. But I still think there's shenanigans at play there. But all this said and done, Michael, if there was no filibuster, the SAVE Act would be law today because Vice President Vance would have determined the tying vote. Well, it wasn't even a tie, but he would have put 51, which would have been the simple majority. And we would have had the SAVE Act. But John Thune doesn't want to kill the filibuster, and I don't think he ever will. He's made that abundantly clear.
Well, I don't think we'd have it even if he did kill the filibuster at this point, because to your point, we already got 4 rhinos voting against it, the usual suspects. But I would bet that Thune would do the same. If that meant stalling it out, making sure it was 49 votes, and that Vance's vote would be irrelevant, I bet he would flip too.
That's exactly what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That's why it was so underhanded the way he moved on quickly to the Hickenlooper crap and completely ignored this, because he can now say, hey, I voted for it. Knowing full well that the filibuster was going to stop it dead in its tracks. And he knew that he was never, and he never will, try to kill the filibuster through new Senate rules, which he can do at the stroke of a pen, but he won't do it. So his ass was covered either way. And you're right. If the filibuster did not exist, he probably would have voted against it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's so many other rhinos in the Senate that it really doesn't matter. Like, we really do they're going to have to exclude the party apparatus, unfortunately. But as the voters, we're going to have to get organized in 2028 and take down some of these rhinos in the House and the Senate. We've shown that we can do that. We've removed several people already through this cycle, and we've done that without the help of the party, largely. In some cases, overriding their endorsements and getting better candidates in there, like Brandon Herrera in Texas, and a number of others, and even this recent victory we had in Iowa. That's the thing, is we're going to have to seize control again, because they're clearly still blocking us. And unfortunately, I think we're going to have the same problem in the midterms, or continue to have that leading up to it, where they want their rhinos to retain power. Anybody that's an outside threat, like there's something going on in Florida, and we'll probably be able to talk about it more in a week or so. But right now, I can't really get into the details. But there's a number of good conservative candidates that are running. And there's literally like uniparty rhinos right now setting up a big pack to try to prevent them from getting through the election next week, the primary next week, and getting on the ballot, because they know we have a better chance to get real hardcore right-wing conservatives in red states like that. And they are very concerned about a few people that are running in a couple districts down there. So they are going to begin spending money probably this weekend, running ads against them to try to keep rhinos in power, or get a rhino on a ticket that should be a real conservative.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And I tell you, Rasmussen Reports has they tweeted out earlier, X'd out, whatever the hell you call it now on X.
Yeah.
I'll just read you what they said. They said it's beyond obvious now that the Senate cannot allow the SAVE Act to advance, even if 100% of the American voters, instead of the 80 to 85% approval that it now currently has, even if 100% of the voters behind it, the Senate will not pass it because why? Because it would stop them from the grift that they're getting. Let me just say, he says, let me reread it because I've kind of screwed that up. It says, it's beyond obvious now that the Senate cannot allow the SAVE Act to advance, even if 100% of American voters, instead of just 80 to 85%, approve of it, because many in Congress are not elected. They are installed. Anything preventing this crime cannot be approved. I mean, preventing this crime, Rasmussen Reports laying it out pretty plainly. And you know what this has a long-term effect of, Michael, and this to the midterms, your point about the midterms, this has a cooling effect on voter turnout.
Oh, yeah.
People just say, you know what, if this is what they're going to do, screw them. I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
And this is the double-edged sword of that. It's easy to say that and throw your hands up in the air, but that's exactly what they want us to do. That's exactly what they want us to do.
But here's the problem, with a lot of people, or you're in districts where you have these rhinos, who are you supposed to go out and vote for? Because unfortunately, things are so razor thin, we need every seat. When you have a horrible candidate like this that's up on the ballot, do you go out and vote for that person? Because personally, I wouldn't. If I've got somebody that I know is a problem, I know is a reliable vote against my agenda, then I am not going to support that person. Doesn't mean I'm going to go vote for the Democrat, but I just won't vote in the race. And I think that's what
exactly. So it chills motivation to vote. And then, like I said, as I mentioned earlier, then you've got someone like Susan Collins, who probably would have been sweating this a little bit more if she had a somewhat normal opposition candidate from the Democrats running in Maine, but they don't. They have a guy wearing a Nazi tattoo that is cheering on pissed off that a veteran was not killed by a Taliban sniper. I mean, they've got that guy's just beyond. So she's safe, but what do you do if you have an absolute rhino in your state, and then they have a moderate, and I know that's a rare thing these days, but a somewhat more normal candidate running for the Democrats? Do you just say, screw it, I'm going to go home, I'm going to leave it to the Democrats to win, knowing full well that Democrat will be jerked to the left the second they get inside the Beltway?
I think you have to, because Yeah, well, honestly, I think you have to. We can't be taken hostage, and that's the problem. We keep getting told this. You guys have to vote this way. We can't make arrests till after the midterms. We can't do this till then. It's hostage taking. It's got to stop. Because we put people in office, they need to do what they ran on, and when they do this to try to force people to vote for horrible candidates, we're just going to have to go like, "Yep, too bad, guys. Sorry, you had 2 years to do this. You didn't accomplish it. This guy's proven he's a loser. So I'm just going to abstain. I'm not going to vote in this race, and we're going to hand it to the Democrats." But otherwise, what do? There's no repercussions. They stay there. They keep their power. Next year, they'll trot out something else, or in 2 years, they'll trot out something else, and that'll be the reason you have to support the rhino. So they've got to be punished. And the only way we're ever going to do it is by staying home, sticking to our principles, since they can't.
Well, John Cornyn was punished, and frankly, so was Tom Tillis. He's out too. So
Yeah.
these people are being punished, but on their way out the door, they're trying to screw over everything that Trump has been trying to set in motion.
Yeah.
And it's really ugly to watch, and it's who they are. But what are you going to do? Now, the reason this is so bloody important beyond the obvious is because we don't have to cast our memories that far back to realize just how bloody corrupt the Biden administration and the entire Democrat media, Hollywood establishment crowd, and big tech and all of it, big pharma,
Yeah.
all of it, the monster, the Leviathan of the left. And some people that are quote unquote of the right are part of this Leviathan as well. But let's take a look at what's happening in California right now, because this is a case study in how they will govern should they get back in charge of the Senate, the House, and God forbid the White House anytime soon. Steve Hilton was just blowing up. So was Spencer Pratt in LA. The mayoral race, Spencer Pratt had all the momentum going in, all of it.
Yeah.
Same can be said for Steve Hilton. All of it going in. Now all of a sudden, gee, imagine that. A few days after Election Day, it's really tightened up. And it hasn't just really tightened up because they're trickling in and you get 10 for Karen Bass and 6 for Spencer Pratt. No. They're trickling into the tune of 30,000 for Karen Bass, 0 for Spencer Pratt. Okay.
Yes.
Mathematically, statistically impossible vote dumps are happening, and they're happening for a reason, because that's the way California set it up. Let's take a look at clip 1. Here's Steve Hilton, and he's unloading on it's blatant election shenanigans going on in California. Cut 1.
In November. Now let's get to this absolute shambles of an election count. It's actually way worse than the president just mentioned. It's not 6 or 7 or 8 days. Here's from the Secretary of State's website today, 35 days.
Oh.
That's the plan, 35 days. This is an absolute shambles, a humiliation for California. It is making our state a laughing stock here in America and around the world. We have less than 10 million votes cast in this election in California, and it's going to take them a month to count them. India, 640 million. They do it in a day. States here in America, look at Florida, how quickly they get their count out. Within hours, same sort of numbers. They have early voting too. They have mail-in voting too, but they can do it in an hour. Here it takes a month. It is an absolutely inexcusable, calamitous catastrophe of incompetence from the same crew who bought you high-speed rail.
Yes.
Now it's snail's pace elections. It's not good enough.
Steve.
And today, David, I'm laying out a plan to change this election.
Okay. All right. Well, he's trying to do the election. I forget what the name of it is, but to speed the process up, should he become governor. And therein lies the problem. Should he become governor? It looks like the election laws in California are set up to make damn sure that no Republican becomes governor. We remember just a few weeks ago when Gavin Newsom says, if we reach the break the glass moment, we're going to break the glass, meaning we're going to do everything it takes. 35 days to count 10 million votes when India can count 640 million in less than 12 hours. I would say make it make sense, but it does make sense from a Democrat perspective.
Yeah.
You find out how many votes you need, and then you massage that many votes across the finish line over the next month. And then Steve Hilton becomes a side note. Spencer Pratt becomes remember how good that campaign was? And then it's all but forgotten down the road. And if you don't believe that's the way it's going to play out, I want you to watch this. This is Dana Bash, and she is insufferable, this woman. But here's Dana Bash on CNN explaining the way things move in California. Pretty shocking stuff. Cut 2, go.
Dynamic that we saw back in 2020 when states took longer to vote. It looked like Republicans were doing better at the beginning. They tend to vote earlier. The votes tend to be counted just culturally, not even sure why, tend to be counted first. And then once the votes that are already there legally are counted, it looks different.
Okay. You see how she's massaging the narrative? Oh, we've seen this play out before. Republicans, for some reason, culturally vote what? On election day? I mean, she's trying to make this sound like this is no big deal. We're seeing mathematically impossible vote dumps happen right now.
Yes.
In California. Everybody knows it. And Dana Bash is trying to make it sound like, you didn't see what you saw. Don't believe your own lying eyes. Give us time. We're going to figure out exactly the way this works. We will report the news. You just take it in. I mean, it's pathetic.
Yeah, honestly, we need to send in the feds right now and start monitoring this under the Civil Rights Act. They already have authority; they can do it. They can go in. One of the ballot dumps I saw on video. I think it was Benny Johnson's talked about it. Tim Pool, others. They've all played the same clip from multiple news networks, by the way. So this wasn't just a local ABC affiliate that screwed something up. Where you had 14,000 some odd votes go in. All of them go to Karen Bass and Nikki Rahman, none for Spencer Pratt. That is a statistical impossibility. I don't care if you went door to door in the gayest neighborhood in San Francisco, you're still going to find some of these people that are sick and tired of what's going on, and they pulled the lever for Pratt. You are not going to get a 14,000 vote dump anywhere. I mean, I watched an interview with some trans retard out there that was voting for Spencer Pratt because he had to get stitches in his foot for stepping on a heroin needle. So, there are people that are politically opposed to Pratt, probably in 99% of things, but they are sick of dealing with literal human shit in the street, needles everywhere, getting assaulted by homeless people, and they are ready to do something drastic, even if that means holding their nose and voting for Spencer Pratt. So I don't believe for a moment.
But the Democratic machine inside California doesn't give a damn about those people.
No, they don't.
Give a damn about those people. And look, these vote dumps, this is more akin to Hugo Chavez and Maduro type numbers. Even Saddam Hussein. Oh, Saddam won again, 99.9% of the vote. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And of course, the same media that used to laugh about those results are now touting these as, oh, well, this is just typical California. No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, I think they're real concerned. I mean, honestly, I don't know that they can win the governor's race, period, because you have well, if he doesn't end up in jail, because I'm what's the guy's name? Xavier Becerra.
Yeah.
Becerra. Yeah, sorry. Karen Bass's real name is Becerra. So I always get them mixed up now. But anyway, Xavier Becerra, he may be in jail before the California election. I don't know if you're familiar with this whole campaign finance and fraud investigation. They've already had 2 of the 3 take plea deals. So it ain't looking good for him. But if you can keep a Democrat on the ballot, then you can keep a Republican from winning, whether that's Hilton or whoever else. But that's why they want 2 Democrats on there to make sure. But, it's just the fraud and the abuse out there in California is so obvious now. We have to step in and do something. Republicans need to hurry up and find their testicles, push the SAVE Act through. And I don't know. Otherwise, we're going to have to do something drastic because this is unbelievable what's going on out in California.
Well, there is some bubbling up on the surfaces on the interwebs and on the social sites that the Supreme Court may very well weigh in on this and say, hey, your whole idea about counting for 30 days, that's not going to happen.
Dude.
But I don't know that they would ever actually go that. Yeah, I think that's wishful thinking. I think California is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the Democrat Party. And I think the Supreme Court, and frankly, I can't say as I blame them, would just say, you know what, I don't want any part of this. I think they should, but I don't know that they will, especially with John Roberts as the, leading the court up.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because some people are saying the feds are, in fact, looking at this.
Well, supposedly they are. They've made some noise. And yeah, as far as Roberts on the Supreme Court goes, he was a frequent flyer to Epstein Island. So again, maybe if the DOJ would do their job and look into him, maybe we could pull him off the court and get somebody up there with some testicles, put Thomas in charge of it, or Alito until they retire. But with California,
Imagine the meltdown if Clarence Thomas became the Chief Justice. They would absolutely lose their minds. And
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
you'd have to put him. He'd be living on a military base for the rest of his life, because there'd be no possible way you could keep him safe at home. But yeah, like I think when they're taking ballots with handwritten signatures, and I guess this is kind of the other point I've been making all week is, I don't know about you, but I've mailed letters in state before, and I can't think of one time where something didn't arrive next day. So let's say 2 days. Let's double it out. So shouldn't they have gotten the last of their ballots yesterday from California? I know it's a big state and a lot of people, but and then my other thing is too, like if you're waiting till midnight on election day to drop your ballot in the box, I don't think your vote should count anyway. I mean, if you can't get it in a few days before, we're already giving you the benefit of allowing you to mail your vote in. So if you can't put it in the mailbox, I don't know, the Saturday before the election, then I don't really care if your vote counts or not. It ought to be whatever is received by midnight. Now, if you're, the truck's in the parking lot and they just haven't offloaded the ballots yet, fine. But anything else coming in after that, forget about it. That I don't care if it's a valid vote or not. If your representatives couldn't be bothered to get things in a timely manner, well, I guess they didn't think your vote should count either.
Well, I saw some videos. I don't know. I think one of them might have been Posobiec. Maybe it was Benny. I don't know. Of them going to an empty parking lot with nothing there but a porta potty.
Yeah.
And there were 26 registered voters where all
Yeah.
of those ballots were mailed out. And that's the thing about California. They're going to mail out as many as they can, as many as they need to. They don't care if they're lost, because they're not really lost, are they? They know exactly where they're going, and they're going to find them. And over the course of the next 35 days, they're going to fill them out. Some of these people have been long dead. Some of these people have moved out of the state decades ago. Doesn't matter. What does it take? They get the numbers back on the first day or two, and they say, okay, well, we're going to need 14,720 votes. And lo and behold, 14,722 votes comes in for the Democrat. That's the way it works, and that's the way they play the game out there in California. And it's no wonder people are fleeing that state like rats from the sinking ship.
Again, that's why we've got to actually make some arrests and charge these people with sedition. Again, that's what it is. You're circumventing the will of the people. Execute a few of them, and then it won't happen. And again, I mean, I really do think it rises to that level, because you are stealing the will of the people. You are stealing the vote, and until something happens to change it, it's going to continue. If they keep getting slaps on the wrist, community service, a year or two in jail, you never go after the higher ups, then this is just going to continue in every blue state. And just wait till this year. I mean, they're desperate. So you can see what's going to happen in Colorado, in Illinois, in every blue state. There is no...
Massachusetts.
Yeah. Even the few states we hold or a few seats we hold in blue states, most of these are going to get vaporized through fraud, not through a change in the district or other things like that, or dissatisfaction. It's going to be through fraud in most of these states. And again, people have to actually get out and start fighting and do something about it. If nobody ever gets punished for wrongdoing, then it's just going to continue. But what's going on in California right now, it's blatant. I mean, they're taking ballots right now that have handwritten dates for when they were mailed. How is that possible?
Not even the postmark.
Yeah.
The date on the ballot. So,
It's a handwritten postmark. That doesn't happen. I can guarantee you that doesn't happen. And then these ballots that were burned, you have a couple drop boxes that can mysteriously catch on fire a few days before the election. And wouldn't you know it, they're all in high...
All of those that catch on fire are in Republican-leaning districts.
Exactly.
Shocker how that happens.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even Republican-leaning. A lot of these were polling indicated Pratt was ahead. Some of them...
That's what I mean. That's what I should say.
Yeah.
Pratt's not really running as a Republican. Let's just say Pratt-friendly areas.
Yeah, and keep in mind some of those, like the Palisades and others like that. You know, these. Sorry, I can't remember if it was the Palisades. Sorry, I might be giving the wrong district here. But one of these that had the fires typically leaned 60% Democrat, and right now 60% of polled voters say they're voting for Spencer Pratt.
Palisades, where Pratt's from, and he lost
Yeah.
his house. So.
Well, I don't remember if there was that one or another one, so I don't want to give the wrong district. But there was one that typically goes 60 Democrat, and right now it's 60% Pratt, was what the last polling said. And wouldn't you know it, their ballot box caught on fire.
I mean, you know, and then the thing is, when you bring this up, and this is the pat answer you're always going to get from a quote unquote progressive, which there's nothing progressive about them, but
Yeah.
what they will always say is, "Oh my God, you MAGA people, you're focusing on voter fraud is so rare. It hardly ever happens. If it's so rare and it hardly ever happens, geniuses, why the hell was our southern border left wide open for 4 years? It was
Yep.
done to affect congressional districting across the country. It was done to get sanctuary cities even more representation by busloads of illegals so they can get more districts under their belt. I mean, you'd have to be an absolute illiterate as to how this country works and the congressional districting works not to see it. And I suspect
Yeah.
that a lot of these Democrat progressives are idiots. In fact, I know they are. But I also know that many of them, especially in the top reaches of the elitist class, know exactly what they're doing. It's why they
Yep.
opened the southern border, and they're doing it because they don't give a damn about the
Yeah.
United States Constitution or anything.
Yeah.
They certainly don't care about us.
No, and you're exactly right. That is why they're doing it. I think most of them are smart enough to know exactly what's going on. But even the ones that are, on the ground, the ditto people, they're not going to speak up and say anything because they know it benefits them. It's just like with the high crime and other policies. Until it's right on their doorstep, they don't care. But then, once their kids get raped by an illegal alien, then all of a sudden they might say something about it. But then, maybe they won't.
Once their mansion on a hill gets burned to cinder and ash and they can't rebuild, then they might say something about it. And that's why so many people in the Pacific Palisades support Spencer Pratt, to your point.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the kind, and I've often said willful blindness is bad enough, but willful stupidity is inexcusable. This is an example of willful stupidity. They know in their heart of hearts that there's a lot of cheating going on in California and across the country. And I'm not saying both sides aren't guilty of it. Sometimes Republicans do it too, or they will do everything they can to gerrymander their way into never electing a conservative Republican, as we talked about earlier. But this is the way of the Democrat Party. They've
Yeah.
always worked this way. They've always leaned on, basically balkanization of the electorate in order to appeal to one victimized group after the other. It's just so blatantly obvious, and yet liberals will look at you straight in the eye and tell you that you're being a bigot for pointing it out.
Oh, I know. And it's so disingenuous. It's upside down and backwards. If we don't get some of this stuff back on track, like before the upcoming election, I don't know what's going to happen. Because again, how do you think Republicans or voters are going to respond if we all just sat there and watched them steal California and the federal government did nothing to prevent it, not even a try?
Well, I think that's why you're hearing this kind of bubbling up. That the feds are absolutely looking into this, and I trust they probably are. I don't give a damn about them looking into it. I want them to stop it, and I want them to make arrests. If they can't make arrests on this particular election shenanigans, at least they can put an absolute stop to it.
Yeah.
We'll see. If
I mean, even if you just want to talk about the people on the ground there, I mean, James O'Keefe, Nick Shirley, Nick Sorter, others that went out there and been covering the fraud in California, they have numerous videos of people paying for votes, paying people to register to vote, to sign up for mail order ballots, mail-in balloting. So we already knew.
Morons like Murkowski and Collins and Thom Tillis and Cornyn and McConnell and God forbid John Thune, all of them saying stuff like, well, this is just anecdotal. It doesn't really prove anything.
Well,
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Calm down. Let's take a breath. Let's take a beat. Let's take a beat. That's what they'll do. They'll pull that game.
So
and then, of course, in the meantime, they're going to let it happen.
Well, they don't have any power to stop the DOJ from investigating and arresting people. So who cares what they say? They've already promised to stop Trump's agenda and the American people's agenda for the rest of the year, to punish Trump for endorsing Paxton. So let's take them up on that. let's beat them up every way we can humanly possible, figuratively, not literally, though.
Right.
Never mind. So let's go in and get the fraudsters there. Let's go arrest. Is that why California can't count votes? Is all the Leering centers? Let's start going after the people on the ground and in office. And I don't care how mad they get about it. They can cry about it to CNN and MS Now all they want. If we're getting results, that's what matters. They can't cry somebody out of a prison sentence. So, again, I think that's the way we got to handle it. Who cares what Thune or the others think? They're irrelevant. They're not doing anything. And it's not like they can, it's not like they certainly don't have enough votes to override a Trump veto. So even if they start siding with the Democrats on stuff, it ain't going to happen. There's not enough of them. So,
True.
I guess we would just get total gridlock, but that's better than things going backwards.
You understand why people are so cynical when you see this kind of crap go down all the time. Not just California, but Lee standing up and doing. And I think Mike Lee is one of those guys that I believe I trust that man. And I know that he didn't do this just to say, let's just get it out of the way. He wanted to lay down a marker. And he said, here's how we're going to lay down this marker. We're going to see how you vote. And at least 4 of the Republicans failed. And now that failure has been, kind of broadcast to the world, more are coming out of the woodwork and say, well, I probably wouldn't vote for it either, i.e. probably people like John Thune and others. It's just no wonder cynicism grows in this country, especially amongst the conservative base of the Republican Party.
Yep. That's what's so sad about all this is we should be running the football down, scoring touchdown after touchdown right now. But instead, the ineptitude in the House and the Senate are going to cost us the midterms because they can't pass any legislation. Again, I think it's partially Trump's fault too, the DOJ's at least, for their inaction. People are obviously very frustrated with that. And backing down on border security and mass deportations. Again, this still has popular support right now. It doesn't matter how many sob stories the media puts out there. You still have at least 57% support for mass deportations right now nationwide, which means there's a percentage of Democrats that want it too. So, before that gets clubbed to death by all the sob stories and the framing from the media, we need to be doing the things that we ran on and actually accomplishing things. That's what's going to kill us.
I disagree, and I do think that there's some in there that are desperately trying to make that happen. But I think that they're being stymied by the system, and this is the whole thing. The whole goddamn system is corrupt. The way if you're listening to Rasmussen reports, they're telling you exactly why it's not happening. They don't want their crimes exposed. Now, they didn't mention any names, but I think we could probably surmise who some of these long in the tooth senators and congressmen and women from both sides of the aisle. Some of them been there for so damn long, and we know they're corrupt. I won't mention Nancy Pelosi because that's too easy. But there are plenty on the Republican side too. Tom Tillis, hello. Cornyn, hello. McConnell, for goddamn sure. And I just think that it's just it almost makes it seem as if it's impossible to change. And I think that's the way they want you to feel.
It is certainly the way it looks. And you know what? Maybe it is time. I know Anna Paulina Luna and others have said that they're going to take the names from the unredacted Epstein reports and start reading them on the floor of the House, so they can't be prosecuted for it. Massey said the same thing.
Promised he was going to do that years ago.
Well, he promised to do it. Yeah, he did. He read several names already. They went after him. That was what really set Trump off on him, is because he exposed 6 people, including one big Republican donor. And but it's time for the 2 of them to take that list, read all the names off, senators, and let's include the victims in this too, who they molested or what they did, and let's put it out there for the world to see. And maybe we can finally get enough public pressure that we can remove some of these obstacles to what the American people want in both parties. I think they should do that on the House floor. I would
absolutely encourage them to do it.
Yep.
I don't know that they will. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I do know that and it's not just the Epstein crap. That's bad enough. But it's also this stuff that is obvious. Why won't they pass the SAVE Act? That has nothing to do with the Epstein Act, because they're getting their nest feathered by somebody, some probably NGO or
Yeah.
heavy-handed donor that is telling them, don't you dare touch our cheap labor. Don't you dare do this to us. I could say, you don't have to be Tom Clancy to see the way the government works behind closed doors. Or
Yeah.
maybe a more recent example would be Jack Carr. But I mean, you don't have to be
Yeah.
a great thriller writer to understand how bloody corrupt it is inside the Beltway.
Well, let's get some of them then. We already have the ballots from Fulton County, Georgia. We already know that there was short, whatever it was, 37,000 votes, I think, for Biden just in that one county. The ballots just straight up don't exist. We know they have 80 indictments. Yeah. Well, apparently they lost 37,000 ballots in that county. They just straight up. Yeah. Well, either way, the math ain't mathin', and that was more than enough to flip the state. They already got over 80 indictments for people in election fraud in Georgia. We don't know how many they've secured so far in Arizona, but let's start fracturing some skulls. Let's start bringing these people in, offering the low-hanging fruit deals, because we know people further up orchestrated this, and let's start making some arrests. Let's take down this structure that allows for stolen elections, because they're going to start singing, especially, again, if we charge them with sedition for interfering in an election, which, again, I think under sedition, that fits. If you are part of a conspiracy to deprive people of their civil rights, of their right to a free and fair election, that should be covered by sedition. So let's start putting it on the line. If you're looking at 100 plus years in jail, you're going to talk.
Yeah. Well, I listen, I know that a lot of people kind of hemmed and hawed when Bondi didn't do anything. You were certainly very loud about it. I for the longest time tried to defend her and then realized this is indefensible. I mean,
Yeah.
her lack of action is pretty indefensible. And at the same time, people are going, oh, great. Now we're going to get stuck with Blanche. But I got to tell you something. Blanche doesn't seem to be backing down off this and has been making it abundantly clear that now, again, this kind of Bondi did the same thing, but we'll have to wait and see. But that big arrests are not only coming, there's subpoenas issued. There are going to be frog marches. And this is what I keep hearing over and over again. We heard Bondi say this. But
Yes.
Blanche says it right to the camera and doesn't blink when he says it. He goes, oh, yeah. So
He's not doing anything.
I don't know if I believe that, Michael. Here's why. I wouldn't be at all surprised if word from the top, and of course the DOJ is supposed to be completely, independent of the executive branch. We know all that. And weirdly enough, it is part of the executive branch. We know all that. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if the gaming out of this thing is we're going to drop so many October surprises on you and before. Maybe some late July surprises, maybe some August, maybe September surprises. We're going to hit them so hard with litigation, lawsuits, subpoenas, indictments, sentences. Maybe that's the plan. I mean, I'm always hopeful for that. I'm not so cynical that I think
Well,
that nobody in the DOJ wants heads
Well,
to roll.
let me rain on your parade real quick. You remember when Dan Bongino was out there saying that the DA, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, they're the ones that are really behind the scenes orchestrating things. That's who's really doing the prosecutions. Bondi is a figurehead. Her job is to talk to the cameras, blah, 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 blah. Well, this was Blanche. Right now, he's taking credit for things he didn't do anyway, like this SPLC thing. Like, again, I'm glad they finally made some criminal referral, some indictments there, and added some additional ones. But that investigation started 3 years ago. This isn't something new. This isn't something that they accomplished. And the big fish they're still out there teasing this. We're at 10 times now that they've said, "Oh, John Brennan, grand jury, Barack Obama, grand jury, never happens." We're investigating Ilhan Omar. It's not going to happen.
It's going to make it very, very hard for Blanche to continue down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Outgoing ODNI Tulsi Gabbard, because she is unloading all kinds of evidence on, well, Barack Obama specifically, but
Yeah.
all kinds of members inside that. And she's dealing with a very sick husband right now. And that's why she decided to step down. And at first, a lot of people were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then it turns out that her husband really and truly does have a very rare form of cancer. And
Yeah.
I don't blame her. Let's just say that. But she's made it abundantly clear that before she goes, she's just going to offload everything into the public, and she's
Well,
already started to do that. So
and the Senate's already promised to block Polte from getting that position. He's,
well,
another.
I'll be honest with you. That seems like a strange pick as far as I'm concerned. Maybe
Well,
Trump knows something that we don't. I don't know.
he's the one that provided the evidence originally for Schiff's mortgage fraud, Letitia James mortgage fraud, Comey's mortgage fraud, and Swalwell. And that's when Todd Blanche ended the weaponization committee within the DOJ and tried to push Ed Martin out, and then investigated Ed Martin for having the audacity to go after members of Congress. So I mean that show.
I get that, but my point is that Gabbard's got absolutely nothing to lose.
Well, yeah,
except perhaps her
but
husband.
she's also sent numerous criminal referrals over to the DOJ that they haven't done anything with. I mean, they've been sitting on referrals from Gabbard for 6 months.
Well, there may be some truth there, but that doesn't necessarily. I mean, I know for a fact, and you do too, that there are active investigations going on right now. Now, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean they're ever going to be resolved. And I can see that. I can see you rolling your eyes now.
Yeah.
But the point is that what Gabbard is doing is a little bit different. She's
Well-
uploading all of this crap online. That evidence that she got about Obama is watertight, and she
Yeah.
just blasted it all over X, saying, "Here's what we know."
Which
And
makes
there's
it
gonna
even.
come a point where it will be untenable not to act.
Oh, we're
on
past that. We're way past that already.
no, but
Even
I mean, it's going to be untenable because of the public. The public is now really starting to see it. I think
Yeah.
that's the threat that Gabbard is posing. She's saying,
Yeah.
"I'm going to offload all of this crap, and if you don't act on it, that's on you because I'm going to take care of my husband." Good for her. I wish him the best, really, sincerely. But
yeah.
but at that point, I mean, especially after this BS with the Save Act, how these four morons stopped it. You're gonna if the Republicans ever want to win again, they're gonna have to start doing some of this stuff. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah. Well, again, I feel like a lot of the evidence, I mean, the fact that they raided her office to take back the documents that she wanted to release on the rest of the Kennedy assassination and MK Ultra, MK Austin, and other CIA programs. Again, why weren't those agents that took this stuff back immediately arrested? Why again do we keep having to placate to them? I
Because
think
the
she's
system is corrupt. That's why. The
Yeah, well, that's-
system is corrupt.
bingo, and that's why we're not going to see any arrests for any of this. They've had plenty of evidence, plenty of referrals, and they still haven't moved on it. We're going to get some show stuff. They'll continue to arrest Somali pirates for ripping us off through clearing centers, but there's not going to be any major effort to get the real people orchestrating this, or California, or anywhere else. Maybe we'll get a few people arrested for the election fraud in Georgia and other places. I don't even see that happening because, again, they've already. That was the other big focus that Tulsi Gabbard was on, providing them evidence there and referrals. I just, I wish I felt differently now, but I just don't see it happening. I'm glad that they were going to block Blanche because then it sounds like we'll at least get somebody decent in. If they take Blanche out of the equation, he can only stay in there for a little while longer as acting AG, and then maybe Trump will put somebody in, even if it's as acting initially. Like Peter Tickton or I just blanked on her name. What was her name over there in New Jersey? The other great attorney that they removed through procedural maneuvers.
What's her name? Helena Alba or whatever the hell.
Yeah, Elena Haba. Yeah, put her in. Somebody like that. We need a killer in there. We need somebody that will actually get the job done, doesn't care what the media says, or what the Democrats say, or what the rhinos say. That's what we need, is somebody that'll get the job done and doesn't care.
That's going to be tough because, I tell you, it's so corrupt. There's so much money involved. There's so much power involved. There's so much at stake for some of these people. A lot of these people don't want any of this crap to pass because they know that legally they'll end up being on the hook if it does.
Yep.
And they know that. And they're
Yeah.
stopping it. The media sure as hell isn't going to report it properly because the media is also likewise, conflicted on this crap.
Yeah.
The media knows it too. It's really pathetic. But listen, we don't have much time left. So let's try and end this show and start our weekend with happier thoughts. Can we at least agree to that, Michael?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's do that. Trump has a big plan coming up for the July 4th and the America's 250 and all that. And we're all thrilled about that. People that love their country are anyway. A large part of the left
Yeah.
are not thrilled at all about it. But Trump has been making very good on his promise to make DC safe again, to make DC clean again, beautiful again. He's been doing that as the run up to this America 250. So last week it was the Columbus fountains in front of Union Square, wherever the hell it was in DC. I haven't been there in a long time, especially that fountain. But it looked gorgeous. They polished up the marble. They got rid of all the BLM
Graffiti.
and graffiti tags that had been all over it. They I mean, it just looks like brand new. It looks like damn near the Trevi Fountain. Maybe that's pushing it, but it looked great.
Yeah.
And for the past month or so, they've been working on the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial as it stretches out towards the Washington Memorial with the World War II Memorial in between. I was in DC years ago with my daughters, and I wanted to take them to the reflecting pool because as a kid, when I lived in Alexandria, we used to go there a lot and it was always moving. This was during the Obama era. They were trying to fix the leaks that Trump fixed. Uh, they were trying to fix the leak. So it was drained. And I said, girls, this is something I've always wanted to do. And we walked across the reflecting pool because it was bone dry.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was just sticky with duck crap and all kinds of mud. We got about 5 feet into that reflecting pool that was bone dry, and we had to get out because we would have slipped and fallen on our ass. But have you seen
Yeah.
it lately?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks,
I mean,
it's amazing.
it really is amazing. Look at this video. This is a time lapse. Yesterday, Trump promised, he went on Truth Social and said the final coat of the beautiful American flag blue paint is down. The water will be turned on. And here's how that looked. This was all from yesterday. It's time lapse, but check it out. Cut, what is that, Michael?
5,
Cut
I think.
5. Wow. That looks great, doesn't it?
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
that blue paint really makes the reflections pop. See, this is he's a builder. This guy knows. He knows. You may not like everything gilded in gold, but Trump knows how to do it. If you want something gilded in gold, there's never been a president better than Trump. And of course, he's doing some of that. He's regilding some of the old statues, the bronze statues. He's going to regild them. They haven't been done since 71. So more videos like that are going to be coming out in the lead up to July 4th this year and the 250th birthday party. Now
Well, and-
watch this. What? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. And then I'll go.
I was going to say, now watch this video. This is a DC resident, and she's obviously a lefty, but watch her reaction to the reflection pool. Cut 6.
I thought it was a stupid idea to paint the reflecting pool, but y'all, it looks good. It actually looks really good. Like, it makes the reflection look extraordinarily prominent in a way that it did not look before. And I hate that.
And I hate that. Anyway, so there you go. I don't think she means that she hates the fact that it looks good. I think that she hates the fact that she admits that it looks good.
Yeah, and that Trump did it. That Trump's the one
And
that finally did
Trump
it. I saw another video, DC residents talking about how like the crime's still better. Again, older black lady. She's sitting on looks like front porch, front steps of her house, talking about how she's not seeing crack deals across the street anymore. That if you call the police in DC now, they actually show up. If you do need something. But just talking about, again, all it took was somebody with the will to do something, and things change. But then you've got blue states all over the place continuing to fight on this. They could have the same relief, but no, they're just too stupid, undeserving.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's multiple fountains and multiple monuments are being redone now. A monument that was originally in Baltimore of Christopher Columbus that was torn down by the Antifa crowd, the crowd that doesn't really exist, and then they sunk it in Baltimore, in the harbor there in Baltimore. Well, a now duplicate of that statue is being erected in DC basically just, Trump telling all of these hard left, nihilist, fascist
Yeah.
clowns to go F themselves. And he's doing it and making the country look a lot better. I think the fountain, the reflecting pool looks ridiculously good right now.
Yeah. I think we'll continue to see those kind of improvements, and the crimes down, things like that are a success. But if we don't get the DOJ under control and get these elections under control and the border under control for real, then it's all for nothing. Everything else can be.
I agree with you there. So really now the only real crime inside DC that's worth
Yeah.
talking about is the crime of the government doing everything they can to stand in Trump's way on not the beautification project. I mean,
Yeah.
most of even most Democrats would kind of go, yeah. Of course, they'll
Yeah.
immediately say it's a waste of taxpayer money.
Well,
Of course,
when Muriel Bowser even admits it's a success and asks them to continue helping with the policing, yeah, there's a problem with the left. So
Muriel Bowser learned really quick. It's best I keep my head down and be on the right side of Trump because he's got the power to really make my
what?
life.
I'm sure she had residents, in DC when she was initially standing in the way of this, being like, "What the hell are you doing?" The murder rates here is obscene. They don't solve any crimes. There's corruption all over your police department, and now we're arresting officers there that were stacking or cooking the books with crime statistics, and other improprieties, or just complain incompetent at their job, like their lesbian DEI, police chief or whatever she was. Again, they're going with policy that works, and at the end of the day, even a lot of these lefties are going to hold their nose and allow it because they know otherwise they're getting carjacked every other Thursday.
Yeah, well, not anymore, and that's the good news. So that's the way we leave you, because I if we start talking about this too much, then we'll get right back down in the dumps again. And it's a beautiful, beautiful day here on the East Coast, and I want to go out and enjoy it. So we'll continue to follow these stories. I can't wait for the America's 250th. I love the way the meltdown is going on about the UFC like Thunderdome superstructure that's been built on the East Lawn, which is obviously temporary. Trump trolls these people and says, "You know what? It looks so good, we might just leave it up forever." Just because he's never going to do that. But it's
Yes.
just, he talked about. He said, "Well, whenever the hell the Eiffel Tower was built in 1898, they said that it was only going to be temporary, but people liked it, they kept it. Maybe we'll keep this."
Yeah. Now we're only. Now we're only going to lose the Eiffel Tower next time the Muslims set it on fire in France again, which just happened last week after a soccer game.
Yeah, well, they can set it on fire all they wanted. I mean, I've been on that thing. It's solid iron. It's not going to fall from a fire. But maybe they'll fly a plane into it. You never know.
Or a building into it. You never know.
Or a building into it, right? Well, I don't know. I'm just happy to see beautiful things happening inside DC, and hopefully, we can rescue this country before they completely destroy it. But we remain cynical at best, and happy that the weekend is on us. Michael, anything else to add before we bid everyone adieu?
I think that's about it. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful weekend out there, and thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear.
Hear what he said. Thanks for watching The Right Hook, everybody. I'm Steve Hook. He's Michael Lauber. Until next week, have a great weekend. Goodbye.